Welcome to Can't Stop, Won't Stop Real Talk with Conor Wesley. I'm the owner of CW Coaching, based here in Maltby. Sat across from me is my partner and also my business partner, Leanne. Leanne is massively involved in the business, helping me scale it and take it to the next level. She takes care of all the content, finances, and everything in between to give me more time to focus on what matters the most, getting people results. She's also massively involved with helping me write my autobiography, which will be ready by the end of the year. Leanne's got the questions, I've got the answers. She's going to ask them. It's a 3-part episode to tell you exactly who I am, where I've come from, and where we're going as a company and as a person. So let's get into it.
Right, so my first question, where does the phrase can't stop, won't stop actually come from, and what does it mean to you personally?
The phrase can't stop, won't stop come from the first time round when I first transformed year before, when I was doing my bare knuckle boxing. I was training for an Ironman, half Ironman that I had booked in Bolton, and it was just something that used to initially get me through all my training sessions, any long runs, any long sessions. When I couldn't be arsed, when I was running, I'd just constantly say, "Can't stop, won't stop." And if I'm completely honest, it come from obviously Meeks' "Can't Stop, Won't Stop" song. I used to listen to that all the time. But then I realised that's where it come from, but it's something that I've always had embedded in me. It's more of just the "can't stop, won't stop" saying. It's probably something that I've had in me all my life. The um, ambition to can't stop and never stop. Even when I've had times where I have temporarily stopped, I always wanted more, and I never felt like I was reaching my full capability, and I knew I was never ever going to stop at that point. So it's probably something that I've always had in me, but the actual saying "can't stop, won't stop" come from when I was training to do all the Ironmans, what got me through many, many runs. I must have said that in my head. I've said it out loud probably 20 million times, but in my head when I've been running on these hard like mini triathlons that me and Corey Mangum used to do every weekend, all the boxing sessions, all the long runs, uh, millions of times, thousands of times, and it just gets me through things when I just need that extra motivation. I've got like quite a lot of clients what I've said, they've said it to the same when they're struggling and they're on a treadmill or they're coming to end and they're on the last 2 miles and stuff. They just constantly say like, "Can't stop, won't stop." And now it's just how I live my life in everything I do, not just about training. And it doesn't actually like me never stopping or never like losing or never quitting. It just means that you never give up, never stop, like never stop trying. Not just in the gym terms, like on being a better person, building a better future, being a better dad, being a better role model. I can never stop and I won't stop. And then I didn't even realise for a very long time I was saying it, but the C for Connor and the W for Wesley, it were only one day I was driving and I had my hat on. And I was like, bloody hell, it's like Connor Wesley. I didn't even realise for a long time, but yeah, so that's where "can't stop, won't stop" comes from. And it's like a movement now. The CW coach and the "can't stop, won't stop." I have people driving past me. I'm like local Rocky Balboa. They'll put windows down and be like, "Can't stop, won't stop," and stuff like that. My son says it. A lot of my clients say it. And I'll say it forever because I won't ever stop trying to achieve great things and do great things. I'm going to have to take this jumper off.
So question 2, episode 1, we touched on your background and what did life actually look and feel like at your lowest point.
Yeah.
That period where you thought everything was falling apart, what did it look like?
I've had a few low points, like we all have. I don't ask for sympathy, and my lowest point isn't always necessarily as bad as somebody else's lowest point. But everyone's built different. What will low for me, I know put it side of somebody else who's going through something else.
Yeah.
On grand scheme of things, is nothing really, but we can't help how his mind works. But for me, my lowest point was a couple of years ago when I went through a really bad breakup. What led into more than just a breakup, I don't know if I mentioned this on last podcast, but I'd split up with somebody. At first I was strong and then it just kept going. Like this person kept coming in and out of my life, dangling the carrot. When it first happened, I was like fine. But for anybody who's ever been through a breakup, but like kept at arm's length,
Yeah.
trying to get on with it, but then all of a sudden they just keep coming back in your life, just as you're starting to get on with things. It has a very big psychological effect on the mind. So multiple times of me being down in pits, lowest at low, not wanting to actually be single or be fucked off, it was difficult, but then all of a sudden coming back into my life, for you to go from down in pits to up on cloud nine in that short amount of time, just to be told a couple of days later, oh, I don't know if it's working, straight back to where you come from. It's going from one extreme to other. So that multiple times, I got to a point where I didn't know my head from my arse. So that was probably the lowest point in my life. Going through all that, it was bad enough as it is, but then people kept coming in and out of your life. I was never perfect. I learned a lot from everything, but a lot of other personal stuff come on from that. It was around the time doing Coast to Coast War. When I've done content and people don't realise what we're going off behind the scenes. So I was going through a breakup, what was bad, and then I ended up getting some false allegations made against me.
Yeah.
Which just added more salt to the wounds. I was going through a tough time as it was. The anxiety, the depression, the not sleeping, everything. And then to be arrested for false allegations, to be made out of some sort of fucking round moat or some monster that I wasn't.
Yeah.
That was just absolutely horrible. I just didn't want to be there, but I had to keep getting up for this walk. I got arrested for assault, some harassment, coercing, controlling, all other shit, which later the charges got dropped and the person who made the allegations apologised. But I got arrested and I got released on bail. The bail date was the same day as the exact day I was setting off on the war. So I got out on bail, not even knowing. I would have always gone to it, but I had to think that I'd probably end up doing this walk, but breaching a bail condition. So I would have ended up raising over £27,000 for charity, but come back to get arrested.
Yeah.
So that was tough. I got released on bail, like I said. The very next day, or the same day, my head were absolutely in bits. I had this walk. Everyone thought we're all right. There were people contacting me to donate money. Local press were involved. I was the communication between me and Bluebell Wood, so they were ringing me. I just wanted to disappear, but I couldn't. And now looking back, I'm probably very grateful for that walk, because if not, I don't know where I'd be, because it was the only thing that kept me afloat. Even though I really hated it at that time and I just wanted to disappear, having to get up and put this face on and keep moving forward, keep speaking to donors, keep speaking to Rotherham Hospice, well, the only thing that kept me afloat, like I said, build your arc, even in tough times, even if it's the very last thing to do, because all I wanted to do really is just go and get absolutely smashed, get pissed, get off my head, and just be forgot about, but I couldn't, because I was the face of this charity event that we'd organised. So it was very, very bad. It just never seemed like it was ending. The anxiety was through the roof. I had to go to doctors, get some depression tablets, sertraline. I call them fuck it tablets, because I just got to a position, everything that did used to bother me didn't anymore. I just thought, oh, fuck it. I eventually got I got all charges dropped, and I got an apology off the person who made the allegation, said that friends were talking her into it, I never deserved it and stuff. Like I said, I wasn't perfect, and I'm not claiming to be a saint.
Yeah.
I was just somebody going through a breakup who were hurting.
Yeah.
And just had things manipulated in a way to make it look like this sort of monster.
Yeah.
Which I won. I was just a person going through a tough time, which a lot of people have.
And then still having to show up for other people as well on this walk, and
yeah, it was bad. Did I say I got out on the bail date and I seen a mum and pa?
No, you didn't.
So I got out on bail the very same day, and I went to pick my boy up, because it's either been training or my boy what's kept me sane.
Oh God, yeah.
So I've gone to pick my boy up. My head's absolutely fried. I've gone to Coronation Park. I've literally walked on park, and the person who made the allegations, mum were on there. She come over to me crying, just saying, I'm so sorry, what my daughter's doing. She said, I'm going to have a word. I don't agree with any of it. You don't deserve any of this. I was my life's ruined. I'm not perfect. I'm not claiming to be, but I don't deserve any of this. She said, I know, I've told her we don't know what she's playing at. Anyway, by the by, it's all been forgot about. She's apologised, charges got dropped, and you live and you move on. But like I've said, the good, the bad, it all makes us who we are today. Even though that was the worst part of my life, for everything I've gone through, looking back now, I'm very, very grateful it happened. I'm glad it did. If somebody come to me now and said, do you wish that part of your life were removed? I'd say no, because it's made me who I am. And if I'd not gone through that, I don't think I will have grown and be where I am now. I'd still be stuck in a rut, not reaching my full capability. I'd still be going out, getting off my head, and things like that. Just tough times don't last, but tough people do. And what don't kill you makes you stronger. I learned so much going through that tough time.
Yeah.
Like,
sounds like it.
Oh, big time. If anybody ever wants to leave you, let them go. Never ever try and ask them to stop. Even if you want them to stop, maybe tell them your thoughts once, but don't do it more than that, because this day and age that we live in now, it just gives them a subconscious thought of authority, and people like to be the one that's the days where people come together and treat each other as equals don't seem to be there anymore. Somebody always needs that power trip.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, it gives them a false sense of
games,
security. I've seen it time and time again. People treat them horrible, and then all of a sudden that person, I always call it like there's a piece of rope, and every single time there's like a slash at rope, and eventually that rope is going to go. When that thread's not there, and that person who's been chasing after the person finally walks away, the person's like, they're not there anymore. What's happening here? And they don't like it. They do not like it.
Like, what have I done?
What have I done? And they're like, because they just expect them, because it might be months, might be years, they just expect them to be constantly there all the time. And eventually, like I always say, chase after a naughty dog, it'll run away. Sometimes if you just have it, oh, fuck it, and walk away from it, and genuinely mean it, you'll turn your shoulder and that naughty dog realise that you're not chasing it anymore, and it'll start coming back to you.
Yeah.
So that's same in like life with relationship. Because if somebody does leave your life and you don't want them to, you give them and you lay it out on the table that you don't want them to, leave it at that. If you leave them and they don't come back, it will meant to happen. Sometimes they'll walk away, they'll think, fucking hell, he's letting me go away a bit easy, what's happening here? And it has another fucking flip effect on it. So that's my outtake, and it was absolutely horrible. It felt like it was never ending, but I'm very thankful for the situation now. I'm glad for it.
Were you on them tablets long then, or did you just wean off them eventually once you started to recover?
I was on them for about 6-7 months. I was never on the highest milligram, I think I was only on 20 milligram or something. But they just took that edge off, because like I've said, my thoughts were just constant, bang, bang, bang. From the minute I woke up, I wasn't sleeping, and I couldn't get these thoughts out of my head. Like I said, it was my mate, Matt Whitehead, what come up with this, about cars flying past you at 100 mile an hour, and every now and again one just latches on. So I could be talking to people, but I wouldn't even have a clue about what they're saying.
Yeah.
I just got that good at blagging my way through conversations, no, yeah. And then I just winged off them, stopped taking them. I started doing like my bare knuckle. Like I said, I got the charges dropped, went on the walk, come back, got apologies, and moved on from it. But we were just, now looking back, all my mates used to come around, they used to be like, what the fuck you bothered about? Why are you bothered? Like me, I don't know. I just been broken down brick by brick. I was always a strong person. But like I said, psychological impact of being in the pits to cloud 9, in the pit, boom, 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 boom. And then I got to a point where I just fucking thought, oh, am I anymore? I didn't even know who I was.
Yeah.
So I had like a full year on my send, just celibate for a year. Didn't talk, didn't meet, didn't even want to. And I just had a lot of soul searching, found who I was, sorted myself out, put things in order, stopped fucking taking drugs, stopped drinking, and never felt so better now.
Good.
So yeah, build your arc in them tough times.
Good. So next question. You mentioned going out, obviously, just a minute ago, getting off your head, chasing the wrong things. How bad did it actually get when you were doing it? And what do you think made you turn to it?
Like I said, I started selling drugs at a very, very young age. Me and my mum moved back from Stoke-on-Trent. Like I've done some content about. We had nothing. It wasn't that my mum and dad weren't good parents and good, because they were. But and people who are brought up with everything and all these nice things, they'll understand, they'll have things. But we like my mum. There were a lot of people worse off than us. We always like got everything for Christmas and stuff like that. But we weren't very fortunate enough. We lived week to week, and sometimes had to borrow odd 20 quid to put electric on and stuff like that. Like we didn't have loads of money. So we had to, especially when me and my mum moved back, and my mum didn't have much and didn't have a job, and we were sofa surfing and stuff like. I had to just make ends meet. From a very young age, I'd be like borrowing my mum money and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like very young age, and I always had that little like Del boy in me, but selling fags and that at school. So I got to a point, even at like 12 and 13, I always had a couple of £100 saved up from my son and stuff like that. But and my mum would probably borrow fucking 50 quid until she got a gyro and that on Friday. But so I started selling drugs, and then selling drugs comes, you think you get, well, at a young age, you get a chip on your shoulder. Then you have a lot of drugs and enough to be able to take drugs. So taking drugs at a very young age, like very young. When I look back now, it's frightening. I was smoking weed and that in year 6 before I even got to comp school, because all my mates were in year 7, year 8, year 9. So I was knocked about with older kids, smoking weed. I bet I'd started taking pills and that in year 7.
Wow.
Like ecstasy
crazy.
pills. And it's crazy when you think about it, because people can die of taking pills if there's wrong pills. So again, it wasn't because my mum and that were bad. They just run pubs and they were working. And back then we just used to say I was sleeping at Billy's house, Billy was sleeping at my house. And we just went and camped out or went down pit and set wheelie bins on fire and took pills and stuff like that, drinking White Star and stuff. So we did that. When we were young, it wasn't good, but it wasn't well, it was definitely a problem. But as you get older and you start realising that, I was never a person who like took it every day. But every week I did.
Yeah.
And I used to be a person, any of my mates will tell you that I was fucking hell. I used to go out, get off my head, and the day after I'd feel that rough and on a come down that I could actually sit there like thinking I want to die.
Yeah.
It used to make me feel like the thought of dying used to make me feel like good. Like it did. I didn't do it. Well, I thought about it at times, but at this point I just used to think I want to fucking die. My mates would come round and I'd like fucking wish I were dead. Like nah. At that point when I used to think about thoughts of dying and stuff, it was like it used to like feel like a warm feeling, like used to fucking thing it. But
It's
I used
so
to go out and
sad.
get that off my head for fucking days, stay out. I'd just come back. It was fucking horrible. And it got to a point where I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. But I continued doing it all the time. Horrible. Used to feel like go out and then come back. I lived here. Just feel shit. Like absolutely horrible. Like my mindset, and even I could go out and reflect and look back on the night before and think I didn't even done it, but my mind would make me feel like I've embarrassed myself. Everyone's talking about me, everyone's thinking about me. The beer fear, the anxiety, the depression, and then that I'd go in for weeks. Like I know this is weird, but I told you that burned me somewhere. Like not like to a point where it
That's just crazy.
like blister my skin, but just that fucking initial just to make me forget what I'm feeling in my head.
Oh, that's so sad.
So that's why you know it's a fucking problem.
Yeah, definitely.
And then staying out like Friday, Saturday, and then sometimes going into Queen as soon as it opened on a Sunday morning just to carry on drinking. Just have I answered the question? What question?
Yeah, so obviously we were talking
How bad
about
did it get?
yeah, just how bad did it get? Obviously you're telling me, yeah. How bad it got.
Really bad, and I just used to go out and just chase the consummatory war. I didn't even used to like it. When I first started taking drugs, I used to feel like I used to go out and talk to my mates and chat shit and have a laugh and talk to each other and stuff. But then I got to a point where I'd just fucking have them. And I don't know if something changed in the drugs, but they just mong you out. I'd like just want to be on myself and sit on myself, and just like the conversation stopped and I felt like you can't even string a sentence together. And I'd have it and I think, why have I done this? But then you keep chasing it and keep having more and keep having more, and it was just bad. Like from a very young age, I've had periods in throughout my life from being a young age where I'd like stop taking drugs for 6 months, but there was the MCAT phase where everyone that just took over country, crazy. Everyone stunk like fucking cat piss. Couldn't go out with without everyone stinking of cat piss. But they were MCAT phase, and I were on that like all the time, every weekend, like most at fucking country at that point. And then as I got a bit older and started selling a lot of like cocaine, I was just on that all the time, and it just gets to a problem. Like I say, I was never a person who could do it every day, but I was doing it every week, and it just
I
got
love
to a
how
point
honest you are about it. You just,
where I just got to a point where I was fucking depressed all the time. So I just, it was November 2023 or 24, yeah, about 16 months ago. Last time I took any beer, any drugs whatsoever.
do you think it's easier to talk this openly about it now you don't do it and you're not in that world than
I would have always
before?
spoke about it
Did
anyway.
you?
Like, I am who I am. Who the fuck is ringing me? Right, carry on.
Yeah,
That
well.
wasn't meant to happen.
So just going on to training, because obviously you used that as a coping mechanism, didn't you?
Yeah.
What were going on in your life at that point that made you need something to hold on to?
Training, like I said, I've trained from a very young age. When I first started training, it was all my cousins used to train. I was brought up as stories listening about my granddad, Mel. He died way before I were even born, when my mum was about 16. She was very young, my mum, when her parents died. But I was brought up, and anybody from Maltby will have probably heard stories about my granddad, like a champion boxer of Hong Kong, I believe. A very hard man, but a gentleman, not like a bully with it. So I brought up listening about stories about him. Then my cousins were all boxers, and then I lived in Queens, which had a boxing gym, which I started training. And I used to get trained by a bloke, Old Man Joe, and Shawnee White in Queens. That were good as a kid. It was brilliant. But then I started training a little bit as I got into a young teenager. Started like taking steroids and that when I was a kid, like young, not knowing what you're doing. Just go to the local gym, and big bodybuilder would just be like, have 2 mil of sauce and some decker and just get you, and you just end up with big gyno tits and just blow up. Just not with the education what people know. Started doing that, and then started selling drugs, and then stopped training for a while. And then as I got older, later on in life, first time, I'd always tried training, but I'd always been a person who'd do it for a month or two and fall off, do it for a week and fall off. But the best successful times I've done it is when I split up with my Babby's mum. That were a tough time. I was working in Newport, training, started as a coping mechanism. Then the sting started going away from the split up, and then I continued and then fell off that.
Yeah.
And then I tried the other year when I got in phenomenal shape, when I was doing bare knuckle fighting and training to do an Ironman. I was so close to doing half Ironman. I had half Ironman booked in Dalton, which, like I said on last podcast, I think is another itch that I've got. I paid for that, and I pulled me back in my last fight. That were a coping mechanism, but now it's just a full passion. Like, now it's something that I don't have to do. I get to do. I love to do it. It's like part of who I am. But I've done it for that long now. And when I used to train, I always used to feel like, can I maintain this? I always had a seed of doubt in my head, thinking, I can't do this forever. But now I feel like I couldn't not do this forever.
Yeah. We were saying, weren't we, like becomes your routine.
100%, it becomes part of who you are. You do it for long enough, and it's who you are, like part of your identity. Gets to be something that you get to do, not what you have to do. I always say it's a choice, not a chore, and it really is. I get people, my mum cares for somebody, Beck, she's in a wheelchair, and Beck's always messages me and always wanting to do something and stuff like that, and I just think like some people moan, but just have a look what you could be like. There's people in a wheelchair and that what are wanting to train, what can't train.
Yeah.
People who are fully able to walk and talk and do these things and that, and they just see it as a chore, but it's not. It's just our times evolved. Like, things come so easy, and that's why people are so lazy now, because they can get consummatory rewards. All rewards used to be earned, everything. Whether you eat it or what, you used to have to go out and hunt it, catch it, kill it, skin it, and everything. Now you can just, everything's at your fingertips. You order it, the sweets and everything. So people have forgot to chase the dopaminergic reward. That's one that you work towards and have to put the graft in for.
Yeah.
Consummatory rewards. But what I've found for me, if I have too many consummatory rewards, it takes me away from the more important reward, and that's the dopaminergic reward. That's the one what builds you up as a person, makes you look better, makes you healthier, makes you smarter and more disciplined. And that's the one what means the most to me. Because when I've been on plans before, I used to put myself on such an unsustainable plan that I'd end up cracking and then binge eating. And then I'd end up eating the shit but then feel shit. Or I'd be on a diet and then I'd eat some shit like a takeaway and stuff but feel really bad for it.
Yeah.
And that will because I was taking me dopaminergic reward away by having takeaways and stuff. And too many of them just take me further away from this. But now I do allow myself to have the odd treats and stuff and I don't feel bad for it.
Yeah.
You do sometimes. You like, I feel I'm
I
like,
do.
shut up. It is
I
what it is.
know.
Let's crack on. It don't matter.
Yeah.
And I used to. But I got to a point, I'm like, if I'm the person who's in control of my body and I want to have this reward and I want to have this treat, if I have that treat, then I've just got to man up and have the treat or don't have the treat and then moan about it after.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree.
I used to do it, feel bad for it, and then think, what's going off here? Who's in control? I'm telling myself to eat it, I'm eating it, but then feeling shit for it after. I don't know, because a lot of time what helped me get around that is by pre-planning it. If I know I'm going to have some, occasionally I'll just tell myself on a Monday, right, on Friday I'm going to have a pack of hobnobs or something. I'll not just fall off and just have a pack of hobnobs and then feel shit. Very rare I do anyway, do you know what I mean? Like every blue moon I might, but I like to get around that by pre-planning things and then I feel like I'm in control. I'm just getting into the temptation at that moment in time and crumbled and cracked.
Yeah.
If you pre-plan it and you go from Monday to Friday, if anything, it should just increase your discipline for the week, knowing that you've got a treat on Friday, and then you just get back on it. I used to be the all or nothing mindset, feel bad if I ever ate any shit, but now I don't. This is a lifestyle, so I've got to be able to have like very rare. I have it now, but every now and again, a fish and chips and not worry about it because this is my life. I can't worry about it.
But they are sustainable plans though with you, aren't they?
I try my absolute
I
best
think
to.
like some people have approached me before and been like, oh, you've lost weight, you know, what have you been doing? Just not eating out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm on a really good plan. I eat really well. I mean, we had burgers and chips last night, didn't we? That were in his plan. And
got to be sustainable, not unattainable. You've got to enjoy it. That's what I used to do wrong and all. I'd go on diet plans and I'd think a little bit of chicken seasoning is going to undo my plan, undo my work. I wouldn't season out up and I'd eat. I got to a point when I've had diets before and I used to have chicken and broccoli. I used to blend it and drink it because I used to take it to work in Tupperware, open it up, stink canteen out. It stunk because I'd cooked it the night before, no seasoning on it. And it used to make me gip eating it for like 15 minutes or it used to make me gip necking it in 5 seconds.
yeah.
I just used to neck it and get it down. But that ain't sustainable.
No, it's not.
That's why I'd fall off because I was drinking blended chicken and fucking broccoli at work. So
right, moving on. What did it feel like to have been in great shape, built something you were proud of, and then just watch yourself fall back mentally? What did you do to that person?
I don't know because it's very, very slow how it happens. It doesn't all of a sudden. I always say consistency looks like nothing's happening until everything fucking changes. But then the opposite as well to that because it just creeps up, and then all of a sudden like fucking I'm fat. You know what I mean? So it did feel bad, but it just like when you put weight on, it creeps up on you. But getting back to the question, when I got in phenomenal shape and all boxing and stuff, like I said, I got a lot of traction. There were a lot of people, like I was mad. I was can't stop, won't stop. I was a lot worse then on terms of can't stop, won't stop training.
Yeah.
I was still in mindset of more equaled more, training 3 times a day. Absolutely not stopping. I train more efficiently now. I train with more intent. I train hard and I recover. And I've realised that I can do less and get more gains for it.
Yeah.
Really can. You can overtrain to a point where you're leaving gains on the table. So it isn't more equals more. But I've got to, like, I'd peaked off and I reached this. I done my bare knuckle. I was fucking flying. Doing really well. I had my Ironman book. My calendar looked like something like David Goggins's or something like that. It was crazy. I had like Leeds Marathon, Manchester Marathon, Sheffield Half Marathon, Russell Buck race at Nottingham Half Marathon. I had all Olympus bare knuckle shows booked in. I had an Ironman in Bolton booked, and it was crazy. And I'd spent over a couple of grand just booking all these races at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I spent over 500 quid for the fireman that I couldn't end up doing. And when I booked it, it
yeah.
was like, do you want to pay £15 insurance just to secure it in case you can't make this event? I'm like, absolutely not. I'm fucking making that event. And then I couldn't do it, so I couldn't get a refund. So I thought, oh, flying, even back then, I could never foresee how I could fall off. Everyone like, you're doing too much, you're doing too much. My coach, I mentioned Will on last podcast, but you were like, just come on, pull it back a little bit, don't. And I'm like, I'm all right, I'm all right. You're like, and then after I've spoke to him since then, and he was like, I told you. He says you can burn your heart even if you can't see it. And even if I didn't actually burn my heart, if you don't give your body what it needs, it'll find a way some way or another. My back injury, what I got,
Yeah.
I was just doing too much, giving it some serious hammer. And then I started going out. There's a video of me necking that pint of Guinness, that what first drink, because I'd stopped drinking back then and all for about 8 months, not a drop. And then I got my back injury. And then it was my birthday, so I went out, had a drink, got on it, and then before you know it, like, I'll start back gym next week, I'll give me back a bit of time, and then a month went by, 2 months went by, and then you're feeling shit, so then you feel shit, so you start chasing the consummatory rewards then, just to give you that instant satisfaction to make yourself not feel shit. But again, that's a slippery slope where you have too many of them and you just end up even in a bigger pile of shit where you're even fatter or even more unfit. So then I was relating back and I was feeling depressed with my baggy clothes, and it didn't feel nice because like I've said, I do genuinely believe if you transform your life and then you fall back, you're just like, you're comparing yourself to that version that you'd got yourself to before, created. There were high expectations of me. I was doing well with bare knuckle. I'd only had like 2 bare knuckle and 1 boxing, but I was getting a decent, I made a decent impact on the team. There were some serious hitters what wanted to fight me. Like, fucking hell, you're lobbing me in with some 8 big dogs. But he was saying that he was struggling to find opponents for me. Even though I'd only had like 2 fights.
Yeah.
Because I had that first one with Danny Moore, I lost, but I did decent. I hate to say it was my first fight. And then I had one with Danny Cornthwaite, and people were like, fucking, he says, I'm ringing people, and they're like, nah, fuck that. Because I were a madman in training. Don't get me wrong, there were some people who wanted to fight me, but only fucking tough cunts.
Yeah.
So I'm never going to have an easy run in that. And then I just fucking reverted and just felt shit and knew that I wasn't reaching my full capability. I knew that wasn't me. I was never giving in.
Yeah.
I've said it before, even when I was like fat, I didn't identify as like a fat man. I knew that would just, I could never live my life like that. I couldn't imagine just getting up and the same mundane, like drinking fucking pints every night and just that same thing. It was never me. I've never been a person who actually likes to go to pub. When I went to the pub, first thing I'd do, I'd go in and buy fucking 4 or 8 Jaeger bombs and that and just neck them because I hate the getting drunk or the socialising bit until I'm actually drunk. And then, yeah, I just realised and knew something needed to change. I needed to get back to my former self. So then, like I said on the last podcast, I think I did about something we're getting very close. I knew I was thinking, but then that Jordan Peterson podcast, that was the thing what just made me think, I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah.
Sit on the end of your bed and ask yourself what stupid things you're doing on a regular basis that are morally fucking up your life. For me, beer, drugs, not being consistent with gym, just giving in. Like I said, suffer or suffer. And I thought, I'm going to give it a good go. And I told myself, if I don't do it this time and I quit, I'm never fucking trying again. Because I was sick to death of just up and down, up and down. And then this time, 16, nearly 17 months in, transform physically, mentally, and everything.
Smashing it, aren't you?
Although, I think I need therapy, so I've been told.
That's another story.
I know.
But that's all my questions. Do you want to add anything else? Or
yeah, just anyone sat on fence or wanting to engage in change, the thing that you're looking for is found in the thing that you're avoiding. It really is. Sometimes you need to take that step. And I said it on the last one, but I'll say it again. You've got to do things for your future self, not for your current self. Your current self will more than likely always choose the easy route. And if you're struggling, then drop me a message, even just a chat. Let's book a call. Let's see where you currently are and see what information and see what plan I could put you on to transform your life. I do offer results in 6 months for your money back if you stick to a plan And I'm not talking chicken and broccoli. I'm talking things you actually enjoy, a sustainable one. The first step is to take a step. Can't stop, won't stop. Episode 2.